Feel anything bad about it. For years I've been testing pigs for tastiness in the morning. Every time they pass the test, yes, this pig is also delicious. Amazing, isn't it, the pig? Such a lovely, tasty animal. And I'll tell you what's another delicious one, which I suggest you experiment with. It's called the sheep. But don't eat the sheep. It's crap. You've got to eat its kid.
Oh, yeah.
Weird, isn't it?
It's
weird the way an actual,
legs.
oh, sheep. Ugh. People, oh, mutton. Ugh. Oh, I'll eat its baby, though. I'll tell you another delicious one, the chicken. Now, if you've never seen the chicken before, the chicken is like a flamboyant pigeon. It lays a thing called an egg. Now, don't be scared, because it'll look, for the first time you see one, you're like, oh, ooh, it's a stone poo. You'll be wrong. That can be cracked open and then put into a thing called the frying pan, along with some of the pig. I know, you're like, what? Chicken and pig? It's cool. Go with me. And then there's another one called cow. Now, I know, right now, cow is like a cow is like a settee on its side. It's a settee on its side with 6 tits. I know, creepy, but I've done the experiment. It's all right. Now, you can eat the cow, but you can also wank off its boobs. I know. It's a... I know. Trust me.
Did this fascination with pork come from you were just in a supermarket when somebody threw sausages at your head?
Of course, at the time, you see, Neil, before I'd started my experiments, I didn't know they were sausages. I was just like, there's a fat man's hand in a bag. I was so naive. I thought, it's all fingers, there's no thumb. No, in fact, it's all thumbs. What kind of dude was this guy? But I've since learned that is in fact some of the pig. What of the pig? I don't dinkin' well know.
It's time now to bring on our guest. He's a Northern Irish radio legend who's written a book about his show band days. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the panel, Gerry Anderson.
Good.
Gerry, you're a huge big star in the North. That's no lie. That's no lie and no exaggeration. Why don't you think we don't have this kind of cross-border thing? Why aren't you a huge star down here?
Well, I don't know. It's a completely different type of a thing. There's certain things that don't cross the border, and radio is one of them. TV does to a certain extent.
Guns do.
Guns do, yes, indeed.
Red diesel.
In unmarked roads, indeed. But it's just one of those things. That's just the way it is. We read different newspapers. We kind of listen to different radio. And I don't know why it should be. I actually think one of the reasons why... One of the things about the Troubles, actually, that has been really terrible is that whole thing has been accentuated, and people in the South kind of have lost contact with people in the North, and they think the people in the North are different, but they actually aren't. And there's a lot of people in the North kind of want to join the party, and a lot of people down here don't kind of, want them to, in a way, but not in any kind of political sense, but they've kind of dismissed the North as being something kind of weird, which it is in a way, but it's not really. There are nice people up there like
Have
me.
you ever worked down here?
Well, I lived here for 6 or 7 years. I came to Dublin when I was about 21, and I stayed for about 6 years, and I loved it. I never meant to leave Dublin. I was in a band. This book, at the end of this book is when I leave Dublin, and I go to America, and I never come back.
This is the book that Gerry has written. It's called A Day in the Life, Heads.
That's right, yeah.
Did you just say you went to America and you never came back?
I never came back. I know I'm here now, I understand.
There's a huge big kind of show band revival, or there's a lot of talk about show bands at the moment. There's the Joe Dolan stuff happening.
It should be stopped.
Why?
It should be stopped because every once in a while they're wheeled on. Pat Kenny wheels them on all the time. And it's all lies.
Not literally wheels them on.
Sometimes, yes. And one of the disturbing things is that I thought it was over because, it's probably a cruel thing to say, that I used to say to yourself, these guys will go away. They'll get tired. Some of them will die. And then maybe perhaps this will stop. But then I see the sons and the daughters of show band guys, and they're forming their own bands. It's a very frightening thing.
Who were the weirdest show bands on the road in your day?
Okay, right. I remember the Zulus.
The what?
See, there was a time in about 1972 when The novelty started to fade, you see, of the show band, so they had this kind of bizarre novelty. They had to add something to it. There was the Zulus, they used to dress up in grass skirts, and they used to black themselves up, and they had assegais. And I remember talking to an African student one time at the dance. I said, "Do you like the band?" He went, you know? Oh, the Hollywood stars. They used to dress up as kind of, you know, Hollywood things. Julius Caesar, and he'd be playing the saxophone, and Marla Monroe, and she had this kind of peroxide hair. It was awful. It was a real kind of weird thing. We had Sunset Boulevard type of thing. It was awful. And then there was Wee Mick and the Hootenannies. Do you remember Wee Mick and the Hootenannies? Mick, unfortunately, was a dwarf, right? Now, what they used to do was...
What about the Hootenannies?
The Hootenannies were fine. They were from Enniskillen or somewhere. What they used to do was, Wee Mick was the lead singer. So the whole night was spent making fun of him because he was a dwarf. And they had a plank, I kid you not. They had a plank that jutted out from the stage. And he used to walk out the plank, and he used to have a little kind of rubber hammer and a little water pistol. And the manager had a long stick. And the manager used to prod him, because Wee Mick didn't want to go out. And he used to prod him out and make him go out again. I used to be standing watching this, and I turned to people and asked, you know, and nobody thought it was weird. and
They were different days, really, weren't they?
You know, they used to go, look at the dwarf, that kind of thing. So the guys would do these big, long show band steps like this. And he had only little tiny legs like that. And they'd kind of point at him and laugh, you know. Look, he hasn't got as long as legs as we have. Look at his tiny little dwarf legs, you know. It was awful.
Where was the dwarf from?
It was from, I think it was a place called Derry Lynn in Fermanagh. You're from around there, aren't you?
Well, what dwarf land? He's the king of the dwarf land. I am officially the world's tallest dwarf.
Sounds a bit frightening.
There's more where that came from.
Okay, Jerry, thank you so much for coming to talk to us tonight. The
That's
book
all,
is
thank
called
you.
A Day in the Life Heads. Jerry Anderson, everybody, thank you very much. And that's it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Our panel has been Andrew Maxwell, Neil Delamere, Mairead Farrell, I love you, and Colin Murphy. Our thanks also to Finan Sheehan, who was on earlier on. Before we go, a reminder that the first auditions for the All-Ireland Talent Show are being held this Saturday at Tyrone House on Capel Street in Dublin. That's all from me. Good night and take care.
And we'll be back for more from the panel at 10:15 next Thursday night here on One. In the meantime, there's laughs aplenty to look forward to tomorrow as we go global in the quirky quiz show Colin and Jim's Home Run. That's at 6:30 tomorrow night here on RTE1. Stay with us now, though, as Harry and Leo dig deep in a bid to discover who or what is behind a series of suspicious deaths. That silent witness coming up after the break.
How did the Keep Off the Grass sign get there? Cobra Beer sponsors the panel.
Asking the hard-hitting questions.
Do you think Britney's pancreas is hot or not?
The panel, Thursday at 10:15 on RTE1.